I officially made it to Boston. This is a 7-day event that I am going to be documenting for the Rocket League team of Gen G. They contacted me through a recommendation of somebody that I worked with in the past. And basically, it's a 7-day shoot. I will be following the team throughout this competition for as far as they make it. Hopefully they win it. And then at the end of this, I'll be passing off the content to an editor who will be putting together the documentaries. And in case you're wondering, this is the Nanic 963 case. It fits everything, but a word of warning, this thing literally weighs 75 pounds. It's great for what I'm trying to do, where I want to have everything in one kit. Not so great if you have to go very far pulling this thing. So this is basically where the players hang out in between games and stuff like that. This is an option to do interviews in here. There's a lot of reasons I don't want to, mainly just because it looks really bland. Start walking around, see if I can find a good spot that they'll let me set up and shoot. But it's all about shaking hands, smiling, being nice to get where you need to get. So this is the Artemis Pro app, if you've never heard of it. It is relatively expensive, but basically it allows you to put in the lens and the camera that you're using to look at it through basically a viewfinder. So instead of lugging my camera around and doing all that, I'm able to just bring my phone up here, figure out where I want to set up, and then after I've got that figured out, I can start bringing all my equipment up, get it all set up and ready, and then bring the players in for interviews. So after kind of walking around for a little bit, finally figured out what I'm going to do. There's like this wall of hockey jerseys there. It's probably the most interesting thing I could find. And so then you get kind of the wraparound of the hallway, so it creates a little bit of depth. So this is where that Nanic case really comes in handy. It is holding all of my lights, all of my audio, pretty much everything I need outside of tripods and stands. So I'm just gonna go ahead and rig up the FX6, get it put on the tripod. I'm going with a 1-camera setup for this. I'm not doing 2 cameras. And this was the first time really using the FX6, so I definitely ran into a few issues. So I was super glad to be able to come up here and be able to get to this a little bit early. Here you can see where I had drawn this at home, kind of like the idea that I had for the lighting that I wanted to do. Pretty basic lighting. You have your hair light, your key light, your backlight. This is before I lit, and this is after. And it's not perfect by any means. I definitely would have loved to have done that better. The hair light definitely came out a little bit harsh, and there's not enough key light in my opinion. I don't hate it. I don't love it. But definitely room for improvement.
We've been as a team, and so he's doing solo right now, and I'm doing solo next.
Okay, cool. No, you're good. So this is Media Day, pretty much where Psyonix, the company who runs Rocket League, is setting up for their media shots that they're going to play on live stream and broadcast and when they're announcing players and teams. So this is a really good opportunity to get some really cool variation in footage. It's probably the only opportunity you're going to get anything like this. You do have to work around the production, but they're usually pretty cool, easy to work with. You just stay out of their way, and they have no problem with you shooting against their stuff.
Thanks.
Let me get a couple real quick if I have a chance, just real quick. If I can get
go for it.
I didn't get you all ago, so you can do exactly what you're doing with them, just whatever. Yeah.
Right, let me know when.
Go ahead, just whenever. Alright, let me get you back there, and then me and you will both walk out.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. And you just walk past me. Perfect, cool.
What my nickname is when I play?
No.
Mr. Sir.
Okay, that's the worst. Your nickname's the worst for sure.
Shooting on the A7S III right now, and then going forward through the event, I'll mainly be on the FX6.
What's going on, vlog?
Just had some lunch, and now we're getting ready to do the interviews. I've got about 20 questions that I was given. I've got to run through all 3 of them and do all that. So I'm going to test the audio, make sure everything's good here, and then I should be able to start bringing in the players. So here's that interview setup with the players actually sitting in this time. It went really well. One issue we're running into, though, is that they were doing sound testing down at the bottom of the arena for setup for the actual event itself. So I was having to work around them doing white noise testing, playing music through the speakers, like adjusting audio levels, doing mic tests, stuff like that, which was very annoying. So as you can tell, there's a ton of speakers. They were playing music, doing white noise tests, doing all of that. So I was having to work around that on top of the team having scrims at 4. So I actually got one of the players down there a little late. I wanted to get that done because they're going to be scrimming for like 3 hours. I did not want to have everything up here set up and going for 3 hours. It's time to wrap set here and get on with the day. I got to say real quick, 62% battery after 3 30-minute or so interviews, just running continuously. I'm pretty happy, and I have a fully charged second one, so I am fully confident that these 2 batteries will get me through a full day of shooting. If you're seeing this clip, then that means I woke up at 4 a.m. The next day to go get some nice sunrise video around Boston. I made it to the Boston Commons Park here. I'm headed towards the sunset using the sunset tracker or whatever it's called, the app that kind of shows you where the sun's gonna rise, so it's straight ahead. So I'm just trying to find a good location. It's kind of the first shot I'm going for right now. This big church steeple. I thought it looked kind of cool. That is where I'm headed, is all the way down there to the water. I think that's where I'm gonna have the best chance of getting any kind of sunrise, if any chance at all. I think there'll be some really interesting shots, like with the boats in the water and all that. So that's where our trek takes us. I saw that boat coming from behind the window over there and just threw the camera down to try to get that shot. As you can see, the sun is right here, but that is not showing for me. So kind of sucks to wake up at 4 a.m. and then come out here to get these shots, but I still got some good shots. It's nice to be able to get out before everybody else is up. I was able to capture some cool moments in the city that just look empty, and I'm not having to deal with other people asking me what I'm shooting, what I'm doing, all that. So I've got the Insta360 running on time-lapse mode right now, just kind of getting the water, the boats, the clouds, yada yada. And then I'm utilizing one of the functions I bought the FX6 for, which is the picture cache recording. So it's basically recording or holding 20 seconds without me having to hit record. And I'm trying to get a shot of the seagull landing on there, which I'm just gonna let this sit here. I'm just gonna kind of monitor both of these cameras. I'll probably give that like 5 or 10 minutes to do its thing. And I will just patiently sit here, get this shot, and then we're headed back to the train station. So this is the first time I ever actually went out and got establishing shots of the city. And I am very glad I did this, and I definitely plan on doing this again in the future. I think it just really sets the tone for the documentary and the setting of the documentary.
Yo, what's going on, vlog? It's RLCS, Boston. Blake Porcher's in the house.
What's up, baby? Yo, dang, you can really get it in there.
So this is what a lot of shooting these documentaries looks like. A lot of follow shots, a lot of team shots, a lot of walking shots. These are to build anticipation, suspense throughout, you know, the whole film as they're walking in to play their opponent, whatever. But it also is the best way to get natural conversation. A lot of the times these teams are going to be talking about who they're fixing to play, going against strategies, things that maybe they're looking out for. And so you really want to make sure you're capturing these moments because you're probably going to get the best kind of conversation out of these. Also, shots like this, I think, just make for good B-roll. Once again, leading up to the suspense of playing a team, I'm always looking for these kind of moments, and I shoot this almost every single time they walk down these halls, they walk on a stage, anything like that. One thing I attempt to always convey whenever I'm shooting backstage is to make it almost feel like gladiatorial. These guys are sitting underneath the stage, crowds cheering, the music's thumping. I think anybody in their right mind would be pretty nervous. So I like to be able to show that. One thing that I captured here as well is you can actually see a team that just lost walking out. You know, their heads are down, they're upset. And it's kind of like this weird, just emotional feeling with them coming out of this losing scenario as my team is getting ready to like go and play for their spot.
Dude, that was my first like loss.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, when we lost the fans?
Yes. I was pissed because I was pissed because that was like my first loss.
These are some of the most important shots that I was focusing on. I don't know how many attempts I'm going to get at getting really cool walkout shots because, again, it's all based on their performance. It's a double elimination tournament. So anytime these guys are walking out from the tunnel, I'm taking as much of a chance as I can to get the best shot possible. I'm also looking for these shots of them on stage, especially when there's no crowd. I have a little bit more leeway to get on the stage, so I'm going to utilize that the best I can. Unfortunately, when there is a crowd, we are not allowed on stage like at all pretty much, which can make it very difficult to try and get really cool shots because we are so limited on what angles we can get And you'll notice a lot of the times my shots are unfortunately from down low looking up. It's still up to us to get creative. It's not an excuse. It's just something you have to adapt to. And I like that because it does make me think creatively. And I do believe that I got some pretty creative shots. Now, a while ago I was discussing the picture cache recording, and this is primarily when it came in handy. A lot of the times I'm looking for reaction shots. These guys are playing for 30, 40 minutes at a time. I don't need to film every single thing. And in the past, before I was able to do picture cache recording and pre-roll 20 seconds at a time, I would have to film 2 or 3 minutes just to get a reaction. Sometimes it's a big reaction on a big goal. Sometimes it's not a reaction at all because they lost, anything like that. And it can be really frustrating for me. It can be frustrating for the editor because he has to go through all this footage to find those shots. So this is the position I'm in a lot. I am setting up my camera. I'm finding the angle I want. I'm finding the shot I want. And then I'm just holding it. Once I get the reaction I want, I hit record. I have a 20-second buffer, and then I let it roll out for about 10 seconds, and I got the shot. So I go essentially from 2-minute clips for a possible reaction to guaranteeing myself a reaction that I want, and it only being about 30, 40 seconds long. I think this is a very underrated feature for events like this, and when you have to capture key moments that people don't talk about on the FX6, but this is by far one of the biggest reasons I wanted this camera. This is something new I'd never done before when shooting a documentary, and that is having these guys go to like a separate location and then just talk about the results of a previous match or what they're expecting for the outcome of the rest of the tournament to be. But one thing I could have done better here is miking up the left and right player as like a safety track with my DJI lav mics. All the audio that I got was straight out of the NTG5.
Yeah. No, there was parts of us that played better than them, but obviously overall the better team.
Yeah, we kind of just we hit troll touches.
There's just like a lot of low end humming noise coming from wind. It was actually fairly windy and birds chirping and all that stuff, but not a huge oversight, just something I think I'll do next time, as just for cleaner audio coming out of the lav mic would have just been better. And I think between 2 lav mics and an NTG mic, the middle player would have been definitely usable as far as audio goes. So my team made it to crowd day, and I'm gonna let this next shot just kind of play out without me talking, because honestly this was a really special moment and just very exciting.
And their opponents, representing North America, your fall major champions,
This was my first time ever filming in front of a crowd like this, and there's something special about being down on the floor with the players and the crowd surrounding you. And walking out with the team was like, my heart was pounding and my hands were shaking. I don't know, it's just something incredible, and I know that that feeling will fade over time, but as I'm getting out there, I'm trying to get every shot I possibly can. I get a shot of Jack raising his hand up, but it wasn't the shot I wanted, so I run around as fast as I can around the stage to try and get that angle. Then I hop over the railing to try to get the wide shot of them sitting down in their chair. So a lot is happening in such a short amount of time, but that's what makes it so fun, and that's what just keeps me going at these events. So everything changes when there is a crowd. The energy is absolutely electric in here. And it's a little bit stressful because it's a double elimination tournament. My guys are already on 1 defeat, and so the next loss, they're out. And it really causes a little bit of stress whenever you're having to worry about trying to get those really nice crowd shots, but you're also wanting those big reaction shots from your players. Because normally when the crowd is cheering and they're chanting for your team and everything, naturally the guys are just going to get more hyped up. So you really have to decide when to focus on crowd shots and when to focus on player shots. So this is the last thing that I want to show, because I've been asked this a couple times by filmmakers throughout the years of me doing esports, and that is how I deal with them having conversations after losses and stuff. It's easy when they're winning to be in their face and getting all that content. They don't really care. You have to be respectful. I'm not miking anybody up. I'm just going with the road mic, and I'm just capturing their conversation. Now, for me personally, anytime I meet a new team or a team at all, I like to just reassure them. My job is to make them look good, tell their story. Anything that gets said that you don't want it to be in the doc won't be in the doc. Stuff like that. Reassuring them and letting them know, like, hey, I'm here to just tell your story. And so by doing that and gaining their trust, I can get into these conversations when they're upset when maybe they might be arguing with each other, when they're having these like intimate moments of discussion based off of their performance, and I can capture that. This team was very mature, very understanding. They didn't mind me kind of walking around, navigating their circle, listening to what they're saying, and I just, again, tried to be respectful of their space. My biggest advice is just anytime you're working with a new team, or maybe it's a team you've worked with before, just reassure them that you're there to tell the story. You're there to show the good and the bad, and you're not trying to do it in a facetious way. So if you want to see the documentary, it's already out. It's posted on Gen G's YouTube channel. I'll leave a link in the description below. Very excited for how it came out. I'm excited for some of the content I was able to produce, and I hope that I get to do some more in the future. Also, if you like this video, this behind the scene, let me know, and let me know how I can improve it. This took a lot of work to edit, to shoot, just a lot more preparation as opposed to just like pulling out a phone and grabbing a couple shots here and there. This is a week worth of filming this documentary plus filming BTS. So just let me know if you want to see more of this, and I'll be happy to produce it. Anyways, have a good day. Peace.